Well, good morning guys. Here's my top 5 Traxxas ERevo VXL 2.0 likes and dislikes. Anyway, I'm going to get the camera straight off the tripod and down to business. Well, the first thing I both like and dislike about the Traxxas ERevo VXL 2.0 is the body. It is supremely tough with this sort of exoskeleton on the top there, and this quick release mechanism on it is a boom for getting the body on and off quickly, very much like the one on the X-Max. Lift it off there, simply pull it back from the front, and there you are. That is the exoskeleton that I'm talking about in there, guys. Supremely large rollover protection. This thing can take a bash from sort of 30 foot, literally 30 foot through the air, upside down, bang on there, and the thing is still in one piece. However, in certain areas, it has proved to be a little bit weak. This is failing at the back, as you can see there. A little bit of a niggle, but the rest of the body is pretty much bulletproof, except for the fronts on here. You see that it's held on by 4 screws. Obviously these 2 are still in place. These 2, however, pulled through the body within about a couple of weeks of me getting it, and that then left the bodywork flapping around. What then happened was it caused this to move around on the body shell, and that in turn caused the tongue to keep moving out from its holder at the front, and the body kept coming loose and the car was going along with the body bouncing like that. So I both love the body for its strength, but I dislike it in certain places for its weaknesses. Anyway, let's move on inside the car. Now, the second thing I like about the car, and I only have a slight dislike with, on the Traxxas ERevo VXL, is the twin steering servo setup. Some people have switched to a single steering servo. Then I think, why don't you just buy a car with a single steering servo in the first place? To my mind, it was designed this way. I'm going to stick with the twin servo design. Both of the original servos, however, failed. That is the bit that I dislike on it, that each of the servos in turn subsequently failed. I know that problem has happened to a lot of people. I've replaced them, however, with these 20 kilo servos. On either side, there's the stock ones are only given about 5 kilos of pull, so I've now got about 4 times the strength in the front here. So now the thing, from being pulled around when it goes over bumps, will just hold its line absolutely rock steady with these servos in place. So that's the second thing I both like, and it's only a minor dislike. The servo failing, that can happen on a lot of things, but I quite like the twin servo setup with the amount of strength that it gives you at the front of the car. Anyway guys, before I move on to the third point, I just want to say, if you like this kind of video, then please do consider subscribing for more great RC videos to come. Anyway, let's move on to point number 3. Well, the third thing I really like about Traxxas ERevo VXL 2.0 is the inboard suspension, but I also dislike it. It's the kind of a minor gripe though, but it's one that is becoming more annoying, but hopefully I've gone on top of that. Anyway, more on that in just one second. Inboard suspension. It was the case of the big lawsuit between Armour and Traxxas. I will point out to anybody watching on there thinks, oh, Armour ripped Traxxas off on the inboard suspension. Guys, Formula 1 cars, which I love watching, have had inboard suspension since the 1960s. Did you see anybody from F1 suing Traxxas when they first came out with this inboard suspension setup? I think not. I rest my case. They also use inboard suspension on the IndyCar, by the way. Did IndyCar sue Traxxas or Armour? I think not. Anyway, one of the great things that I love about the inboard suspension is the fact that you can actually lower the ride height of the car by adjusting the suspension, both front and back, and yet the suspension travel remains exactly the same. Even though the car is sitting lower, the suspension travel remains the same. Very, very trick to my mind. A really nice feature, so you get that better handling and in terms of cornering with it when you get it in the lower position, yet you still got that big suspension travel for when you hit the bumps. Great feature to my mind. My gripe with it is they can be a little bit hard to access in the event that anything goes wrong. And do things go wrong? The rod ends at either end of the car, the plastic ones, have repeatedly kept pulling off on big jumps, big landings, big air, etc., which then means like about 10 minutes work or so just to put a new rod end on. But anyway, I've just fitted some new aluminum ones on the rear, and I'm waiting aluminum ones to go on the front, and that will seems to alleviate the problem. I've not put any checking straps on there as yet. I've not had the suspension issues that some people have had, so I've not felt the need to fit the checking straps on there as yet, but I may well do in the coming couple of weeks. Any comments you might have on that question, guys, have you fit the checking straps on there, would be most welcome. The beauty of the inboard suspension is obviously not just the way it looks and it operates, is the fact that everything is kept nice and clean, because the bodywork is hiding both the front and the rear shocks, so you're not getting as much muck and grime in the shock absorbers. One less thing to clean up. Well, point number 4 I love about the Traxxas ERevo VXL 2.0 is changing the pinion gear. It sounds absolutely minor. This is changing pinion gear 101. It's not rocket science at all. Once you've got your new pinion gear ready to put in place, you simply undo this screw, undo one other screw in there, and then you're just going to slide the whole motor mount out to the side in order to put your pinion screw on. And depending on where this screw is set back in, you don't have to manually mesh the pinion with the spur gear, if that makes sense. And then you've not got to faff around with putting your little bit of piece of paper in between the two. In the manual there is a series of positions that you can put this screw through into, depending on what your pinion gear and your spur gear are. So it makes it idiot proof to set the right mesh on the pinion and spur gear. However, I dislike the amount of time it takes, because in order to tilt this over enough to get the pinion gear out without getting into big work and removing the whole thing, you need to remove the receiver box in order that the motor can tilt over, which is just like a little bit of a faff. It's more time consuming than a tricky job to do, but it's sort of like a job that somebody's made halfway easy with the design, and then it's sort of like they've gone out to lunch when they did it and finished the rest when they came back after a few drinks on a Friday. So that is my kind of thing that I love about so that is point number 4 that I love about the Traxxas ERevo VXL, is the ease at which you can change the pinion gear, and they make it idiot proof. You really can't go wrong in terms of just as long as you've got the pin in the right position for your gear, you can be able to fit your new gear without any problem. But the length of time it can take can be a little bit frustrating. So kind of a good thing, and like a minor gripe thing, more time consuming than a big job. Now for point number 5 that I love about the Traxxas ERevo VXL 2.0. No dislikes on this last one. Something I love about it, but I need to put the body on and the batteries on and take it outside and show you. Point number 5 to love about the Traxxas ERevo VXL only really could be one thing. The standing back flip. Anyway, for today, that's my top 5 likes and dislikes about the Traxxas ERevo VXL 2.0. What do you like and dislike about it? I'd love to hear from you. Do have your say in the comment section below this video. And as ever, if you like this video, then please do consider subscribing for more great LC videos this summer. We hope you liked this video. If you did, please click on the circle image to subscribe. And if you hit subscribe, then don't forget to hit that little notifications bell next to it.